I decided to try this new format of video where I'll give my thoughts on movies that just recently came out. This will have less editing than usual, as this will be a way for me to talk about more relevant movies quicker and hopefully get more videos out to you guys. Hope you enjoy! So I just saw Cruella. I saw a trailer for this movie and I've been making fun of it since then. The concept itself is so stupid. How do you make someone that wants to skin puppies likable? So to my surprise, it was actually good. Of course, the thing that I thought would be bad ended up being good. If you're comparing it to the character from 101 Dalmatians, they are nothing alike. Honestly, you could change Cruella's name and no one would probably have seen this movie. The only other reference to this character being Cruella is a kind of weird scene where she wears a Dalmatian print coat. But she didn't kill the dogs, she just wore a Dalmatian coat. But in the newspapers, it's to print her as the bad guy. And when the characters go, wait, why would you do that? She goes, let's give the people a bad guy to root for. Which, what? It's not like at this point in the movie she was losing popularity. If anything, won't this make you lose popularity? Because it looks like you murdered dogs. Typically a yikes. It wouldn't surprise me if this was supposed to be a different movie, but because of how these live action Disney movies have been taking off, they decided they could make more money this way, which I honestly don't blame them for. Actually, the movie is kind of all over the place. At first it seemed like it's going to be a girl boss movie, taking down the patriarchy kind of thing. Then it turns out a woman Cruella's working for has her necklace and is also the reason her mom died.
It is even funnier a second time.
Then it becomes a heist movie with a necklace, which lasts about 20 minutes. Then it's a revenge story, but it's like a fashion contest? What? While it's odd structurally, it wasn't too jarring as I'm saying it. It was still odd, but it's not as bad as I'm making it out to be. Explaining the changes makes it sound more shocking than it actually was. It doesn't take itself too seriously and knows it's kind of cheesy and stupid. Roger and Anita show up, and because I haven't seen 101 Dalmatians since I was a little baby, I was confused as to who Roger was and why they kept bringing him up, thinking he would come back and do something. But then after the movie, nothing happened, so I figured out that Roger was the guy from the first movie. I realized they were just referencing the original movie, which really they could have just mentioned once or twice, but instead they bring it up 3 or 4 times. Another thing that was just kind of odd was the Dalmatians look extremely fake. Could they not just get real Dalmatians? I promise they're real animals, you can probably find them. The outside of the mansion also looked incredibly fake. It was genuinely shocking how bad it was. It looks like a pre-built starter asset they got off Google. The music choice was also odd. It sounds like they got some intern Spotify playlist. It also just starts and stops suddenly with scenes. I swear, one song lasts like 2 seconds and it just stops. It feels like an editing mistake. Another odd music choice is that they made a new version of the Cruella de Vil song from the original movie, but they played it over the end credit. It reminded me of the decision with the Aladdin remake, how they had Will Smith's Friend Like Me play at the credit, which was way better than his version of the original song. Except there I could see why they did the original version, so then people would go, whoa, whoa,
here I come.
Oh. I wouldn't buy this on Disney Plus. I would wait for it to be free. But if you want to watch some cheesy movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, I'd recommend it. I give Cruella a 5 out of 10. I also saw In the Heights. I like musicals, and I also really enjoyed Hamilton, so I was really excited for this. Now, my opinion has changed a lot in this movie. When I walked out of the theater, I was really impressed by it, as it was one of the few musical movie adaptations that had people that were good and not just famous actors. Then after thinking about it, I couldn't really remember a lot of the songs from the movie aside from the opening song and the song the grandma sings. Then I listened to the music more, and it's stuck in my head now. The choreography is very impressive, and I was constantly blown away by it. While the story is basic, the way it's presented made it interesting. The comic relief salon girls were annoying, but they aren't that bad, and they actually ended up having my favorite song. I liked Usnavi's story more, but without Nina's story, this would have been a lot shorter. I preferred Usnavi's story over Nina's, but they both get an equal amount of screen time. Quick editor's note. While I was editing, one of my friends told me that a bunch of Nina's songs from the original musical were cut, which makes a lot of sense now, as while she was a main character, she didn't really feel like one, since there wasn't a lot there for her. My only few complaints is when Lin-Manuel Miranda appears 4 different times. Like, the beginning was a cool cameo. I'm like, oh, okay, that's the guy. Okay, I get that. Then he gets his own song, which, okay, okay. I like the George Washington cameo, so, you know, I was like, ooh, that's the guy! So, you know, that was cool. There was this emotional song that played, and it's all the important characters on the beach singing to Usnavi, and for some reason he's there, which completely took me out of the scene, because you can either view it 2 ways. You either view it as a fourth wall break, or for some reason in Usnavi's life, the Piagua guy was as important a figure in his life as his friends and family. No matter which way you view it, it's just kind of weird. My other nitpick is that the kid actors are terrible. I know kids are awful in every movie, except for like a few. They were particularly bad here. Despite a few complaints, I enjoyed it overall. I give In the Heights a 7 out of 10.